Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to teach you how to answer behavioural interview questions. Now behavioural interview question is where the panel say to you, can you give us an example of when you've worked as part of a team? Can you give an example of where you've had to be flexible in a work-related role? And also, can you give an example of where you've communicated a message to a large group of people? Now, before I explain how to answer behavioural interview questions and also give you a sample answer to one of the more common types of questions, I just want to give you a quick tip as to how to predict the kind of behavioural interview questions you could get asked at your interview. So before you go along to the interview, try and get hold of the job description and the person specification. If you can get both documents, great, but if not, just get the job description for the role that you're applying for. And if you read through it, it will generally say things like, should be able to have a flexible approach to working, should be able to work effectively as part of a team. Now, if they give indicators like that form part of the role that you'll be required to do if you're successful, those are indicators that you could get asked a question based on those requirements. So if one is a requirement to be flexible, then you could get asked the question, can you give us an example of when you've been flexible in a previous work-related role? Can you give an example of when you've worked as part of a team? The list goes on. Okay, so get a copy of the job description or the person specification and try and predict the kind of questions that you could get asked. Now, the reason why an interviewer will ask you behavioural interview questions is because they want to see a pattern of previous experience of where you've done things before in the past that are relevant to the role. So if I was interviewing you for the role and it required you to carry out difficult tasks under pressure, I'd want to know, have you done this before, and if so, to what success level? Because anybody can answer a behavioural interview question by saying, well, I haven't done that before, but I would do it this way if the situation presented itself. That will get you no marks. What you're looking for here when answering these questions is to give evidence, okay, when you've previously done a similar kind of role. So if the interview question, the behavioural interview question was, can you give us an example of where you've communicated a difficult message to a large group of people? Okay, so if I was going to answer that, this is how I would structure any kind of behavioural interview question. I would use STAR technique. Answer it, situation, task, action, result. Okay, situation, task, action, result. So you can remember that. If you get asked a behavioural interview question, remember the STAR technique when responding. So all you have to do is explain the situation, explain the task that you had to carry out, what action you took and what action anybody else took within the group, and then finally the result. Always make sure, and this is an important tip, the result is a positive one. So let's have a look at that question again. Can you give an example of when you've communicated a difficult message to a large group of people? I would go, yes, well, whilst working in an office one day, my line manager came in and said to me, can I let everybody know within the office group, that the fire alarm is going to be down for the next 2 hours, and therefore we have to have another kind of system in place. Okay, so I would say, he came in and said to me, can you deliver this message to a group of people? So that was a situation. The task was, I was required to let everybody know within the group that the fire alarm system was going to be down, and therefore we've got another system in place for identifying if there's any hazards or fires. Okay, so that was the task. Then the action would be, so I got everybody together in the office. Some people weren't in there, some people were in the toilets and in the kitchen, but I gathered everybody together and I made sure that everyone turned their phones off and everyone was listening. And then I communicated the message clearly to everybody. So I let everybody know that the fire alarm system was down and this is what we were going to do in the event of a fire. We had fire wardens on the exits for the duration of the period the fire alarm was down, and it was their job to let everybody know and shout fire, 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 and everybody would then make their way out of the exit. Okay, so that was the action that I took. I then made sure that everybody fully understood the message. Okay, so I got everybody to confirm that they understood the message, and the result was that everybody was happy. They all knew the message. They went back to work, and after the 2-hour period was finished, the fire alarm system was back on, and I then got everybody together and let everybody know that the fire alarm system was there working again. So that's just a quick example of how to answer the behavioural interview question. Can you tell me when you delivered a difficult message or communicated a difficult message to a large group of people? So it's situation, task, action, result. Always make sure the result is a positive one. Let me give you one more, okay? One more sample response. So the question might be, can you give an example of when you have worked as part of a team to get a difficult task done during a pressurized environment or a pressurized situation. Okay, so this is all about teamwork. So I would say yes, the situation was I was working in a shop one day and my line manager came in and said to me, right, we've got a large delivery coming within the next hour. Before the delivery comes and it's unexpected, we need to carry out a full stock take of everything that we've got so we know what equipment we have in store. Any volunteers? So I volunteered to work as part of the team with 2 other people. So that was the situation. The task was that we were required to methodically and competently carry out a thorough stock take within an hour, which is a difficult thing to do. So what I did, and this is the action part, I got all 3 of us together in the team, and we then decided that we would go through 2 aisles each in the storeroom to carry out the stock take. So I would carry out one particular aisle, my other colleague would do the stock take in the second aisle, and the third colleague would do the stock take in the third aisle. We made sure that we communicated together during the stock taking period because we only had 1 hour to make sure that the task was going to be completed quickly. I completed my aisle stock take really fast. I did it within 40 minutes. So that meant that I had 20 minutes left, and I then went round and helped another person who was basically slower than the other 2. We then got the stock take done within an hour. We reported back to our line manager to let them know the exact figures of all the stock that we had. This was done in time before the new delivery came into effect. So that was the result. The result was a positive one. We had a thorough and accurate stock take account, and we could give that to the line manager, and that enabled us to start off on an even keel before the stock arrived. So that's me using situation, task, action, result to respond to that question. If you use that all the time when responding to those kind of questions, then you can't go far wrong. Something that other people say to me is, Richard, is it okay for me to make up a scenario? I mean, the answer is no, you shouldn't make up scenarios because you don't want to get found out for being dishonest during the interview. But if you are preparing for your interview and you think, well, I've never worked as part of a team before, go out and do it, work as part of a team. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a work-related role. It's preferable if it is, but if you are part of a sporting event or you're working as part of a team for a football match or a hockey match, etc., then think about a scenario that you've been working in where you've all stuck together and got together to get a result achieved. Now, if you want some examples to help you prepare for behavioural interview questions, click the link below the video and it will take you through to a page on my website where you can download a guide on how to answer behavioural and situational interview questions. I hope that helps. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and then you get notified quickly when I create other videos. And don't forget to put some comments below the video. Let me know what you thought of the process, situation, task, action, result. And if you've got any other suggestions for answering these kind of interview questions, thank you for watching.